everyone, we're going to work on some abdominal exercises this afternoon. So if you all come down onto the mat, we're going to start in 4-point kneeling. So you're going to walk your hands underneath your shoulders, knees are underneath your hips, and we're going to just tuck our toes in here. Now I want you to think about your position here, and I want you to work your shoulders away from your body so you're not collapsing down, they're pushing up towards the ceiling. Engagement through your centre, your pelvic floor. We're going to hold this position as we take a breath in, and then as we breathe out we're going to lift the knees off of the mat just a few inches, nice long neck and flat back. Take a breath here before we lower back down. Good, set your position up again, nice long neck, flat back, breathing in. As we breathe out, we lift the knees and we hover. Hold it there. And then we lower. Good, and again. And down. And again. And lower. And again, breathing out to lift. And then lowering. Okay, you can just take your hands or back onto your knees and just give your wrists a little break there. So taking some circles. And then we're going to come back into this position. If that level felt right for you, you're going to stick there. If you want to take it a little bit further and challenge yourself a little bit more, we're going to walk our hands just slightly further away from where they just were, underneath our shoulders. Knees are staying under hips, toes are tucked under. Now we're going to inhale to prepare, and as we exhale, we're going to lift. We're now going to come forward into a plank position. Keep your elbows slightly soft, and then we come all the way back and we lower the knees. So be careful not to lock your elbows out there. So inhale to prepare. Exhale as we lift. We're going to come forward. We're going to bend the knees back. And we're going to lower. Good. And again. You should really feel your pelvic floor and your abdominals kicking in here. Bending the knees and lower. Adjust your position if it doesn't feel quite right. So I've just taken my hands slightly further forward there. Again, we're going to lift. We're going to come forward into plank. We're bending the knees and we're going to lower. Once more. And lower. Great, we're going to just take the weight back again, just circling the wrists just to give them a little bit of a stretch there. We're going to walk our hands forward and we're just going to rest in child's pose. So allow your head just to relax fully down to the floor, stretching the arms away from you. Okay, we're coming back through 4-point kneeling and we're going to make our way to the floor. So I want you to sit onto your bottom. I'm going to sit in a nice tall V-sit position. So feet are just resting on the floor here. We're thinking a nice straight back position. And we're going to place the hands on our knees. As we start to roll down, we're going to tuck our chin in and we're going to straighten our arms, keeping the fingertips on our knees, and then we're going to sit up nice and tall again. So only go as far as you can. You can allow your spine just to curve here as you're coming down. Push yourself and back up again. Good, and again, breathing out as we lower. And then sitting up nice and tall. And again, breathing out. and in to come back up. Great. Now this time we're going to make our way onto our backs. So we can either use our hands to help us get all the way down there, or if you feel you can lower yourself all the way down from this position, you can absolutely try that. So as we were just doing, curving through your spine, slowly rolling down one vertebra at a time until you come to a nice flat back position on the floor. Now if you have your pillow, we're just going to place that underneath our head here. We're going to bend the knees up and find our nice neutral spine position. Think about your arms as well. We want to lengthen them down along the floor here. So just take a minute to set up your hips and your pelvis. And we're then going to bring our hands behind our head. So we're going to cup our neck, cup our head in our hands. That doesn't mean you're going to be pulling your head, that's just there to support your head. We're just going to go into some crunches. So we're going to inhale to prepare, and as we breathe out, we're going to shorten the distance between our ribs and our belly button, and we're just thinking about trying to raise our shoulder blades slightly off the floor. And down. We're keeping our elbows nice and wide. And again. You shouldn't feel like you're pulling your neck. Remember to let your neck relax into your hands. Your hands are giving you a little bit of support there, but the effort is coming from your abdominals. You might feel a bit shaky as you're doing this one. Again, that's fine to work into that. If you find it too uncomfortable, you can just work into a slightly smaller range of movement. Good, we're going to do 5 more here. Great, take a rest here, and just again relax your breathing. We might just take a knee hug here to release any tension in your back. Just let the knees rock side to side before placing both feet down on the floor again. We're going to work into our oblique muscles, so the muscles along the side of our abdominals. To do this, we're going to bring one hand behind the head this time. So again, you're just cupping. We're going to lengthen the other arm along the floor. Now, this time we're going to think about coming up and across our body. So it's like we're putting a seatbelt on. That's the direction we're traveling in. So as we lift, we're going to come up, and then we're going to come across towards the other arm, back to the center, and lower. So up and across. And you should feel your shoulder blade lifting off of the floor. So if my left arm is straight, my right arm and my right shoulder blade are lifting off of the floor. So think about that direction of the seat belt, coming across the body. That's what we're after. Keep your head relaxed into that hand. Remember, the movement and the effort is coming from our abdominals. Good, we're going to do one more this side before we switch hands and switch sides. So opposite hand is just resting under the back of your head. Arm is lengthened along the floor. So we're going to inhale to prepare, and as we breathe out, we're coming up and across towards that hand to the center and lowering. So this time my left shoulder blade is fully lifting off of the floor. Keeping that elbow out nice and wide. Good, we're going to do two more. Brilliant. Relax your head on the pillow. We'll just take our knees both across to one side. And we're going to rotate our neck in the opposite direction. Take some nice relaxed breaths here just to stretch out through your abdominals. Bringing knees back into the middle, and we're going to let them relax across to the other side as our neck rotates in the opposite direction. And then coming back into the middle. So you can repeat those if you want to increase the amount of exercises you're doing. But we're going to move on to the next exercise now. So we can do single leg or double leg depending on where you feel comfortable. So we're going to do scissors. I'm going to just demonstrate one leg to start with. So again, strong engagement through pelvic floor and abdominals. And thinking about that 30%. So just being aware that that's engaged. Lifting one leg up, so knee above hip. And as we breathe out, we're going to tap the foot down and back up. Now as we're doing this, we're keeping our lower back engaged. We're not allowing it to tilt or move away from the floor. Breathing out to lower. Now if you already feel comfortable in tabletop, you can move to doing this in double tabletop. I'm going to do one set of each. So being really aware of our lower back and that we're not lifting or arching away from the floor. Keeping our tailbone tucked under. Keeping arms lengthened on the floor here. And we're going to float that leg down. And we're going to repeat on the other side. So as we breathe out, we lower the leg, tapping the foot on the floor, coming back to 90 degrees. Nice slow controlled movement with the leg, just gently tapping before you come back in. And one more. Before we bend the knee and float that leg down. So we can stick to that level with scissors. If you want to take it into tabletop, we're going to do that now. So again, just find your neutral pelvis position. Abdominals engaged before we float one leg off of the mat and we float the other leg off of the mat. So we're going to be doing alternate scissors. So as I breathe out, I'm lowering one leg down and back in. Opposite leg and in. Good. We're going alternate. I'm going to float one leg down and the second leg down. Just take a rest there. So again, we can take a knee hug or roll the knees side to side, whichever feels more comfortable for you. And what we're trying to avoid with that exercise is allowing yourself to arch off of the mat. If you find that you are doing that, you might want to reduce the amount you're doing, or we might want to go back to single leg. So only work within what is comfortable for you. Now again, if you're doing this video at home, I'm going to recommend doing another set of those, but I'm going to move on because we're keeping these to short videos. So in this position, we're going to go for our next exercise. Again, we can do different levels here. What we're going to do is one leg circles. So if you've got reasonable length in the hamstrings, I'm going to encourage you to straighten the leg in this position. If you feel that's too much, you can keep the knee bent here, or you can keep it completely bent in this position. So we're going to extend it to the level that's comfortable for you, and we're going to take a breath in to prepare. And as we breathe out, we're going to circle that leg away from us. As we're doing that, we're focusing on keeping our other leg completely still and everything else completely still. As you draw that circle, avoid twisting the hips as well. So you might be able to do a big circle if you can control that, a smaller circle if you find it a little bit more challenging to control. So as we breathe out, that leg opens up to the side and comes back in. Imagine you've got laser beams on your hips as well, pointing upwards. You don't want them to move off of their target. So let's go. Remember that circle is only as big as you can control. You're sticking to one leg. And your center is very engaged here to keep everything else nice and still. Good, we're going to do two more on this side. We're going to float that leg down. And we're going to do the same on the opposite side. So finding the level that feels comfortable for you, keeping that leg up, breathing out and letting that leg draw a nice big circle with the toes coming back in. Good, we're going to do three more. And then we're going to float that leg down. Good. Again, I'm going to just take my knees right over to the side to open up through abdominals and hips. And the same to the other side. Coming back into the middle. So we're going to finish on one last exercise. And again, we can do different levels with this one. So I'm going to show you the hardest level to start with, and then we can work backwards. So we're going to come into tabletop position here. We're going to raise arms just over the chest. Now we're going to do one leg stretching away from us as we take the arms over and round. So if you feel you can control this movement, I'm going to encourage you to use this level. If you want to drop it down, we can bring one foot back to the floor and we can do our circles with the single leg, okay? So let's go for 10 in whichever level you feel comfortable with. Breathing out as we stretch one leg away. Keep your neck nice and lengthened on the mat. Good, last 4. Good, and we're going to float the legs down and we're going to relax the arms. Brilliant. We're going to straighten our legs away from us and we're just going to turn onto our front and just take a cobra stretch here. So again, if you had a bit more time, you can repeat any of those exercises again. For now, I'm just going to come up onto my forearms and just let my abdominals take a nice stretch here. Relax your lower back, relax your bottom muscles. If you wanted to take that a little bit higher, we're going to place the hands on the floor and you can come right up. But just again, work into what feels good for you. Okay, I'm going to leave it there and you can take any other stretches you feel you need.